Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another edition of Dragon Ball Super Reviews and Predictions, in which I'm going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Episode 48 and giving my predictions for Episode 49. Well, a lot of stuff happened on this newest edition of Dragon Ball Super, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about, so without further ado, let's get started. So essentially what we saw in this episode was a continuation of future Trunks' story. The episode began as he was facing off with Black Goku, as he was holding the lifeless body of Mai. In a rage, Trunks transformed into a Super Saiyan and attacked Black, but it was still nowhere near enough to have any advantage over him whatsoever. Just when it looked like Black was about to kill Trunks, Trunks was able to grab his sword, fling it at Black, and use the distraction to hit Black with a Masenko, one of the signature attacks of Gohan and Piccolo. After attacking Black, Trunks used the explosion to get away, going into his time machine, putting in the coordinates, and setting course for the past. But as he floated up into the sky ready to depart, Black Goku saw him and charged up what appeared to be a evil Kamehameha, which was not blue but rather a dark shade of purple, and fired it at him, but of course Trunks was able to escape just in time. Black tried to sense him but was unable to, unaware that he went to the past. And as we saw Trunks on his way traveling between the different timelines, we saw him pass out en route to the past. But as his time machine arrived in the past timeline, his past alternate version of himself, the young Trunks, was able to find his time machine and alert Bulma to this fact. After placing him safely in a bed, Bulma called Whis using some device which contacts his staff and told them to come there to come see future Trunks and find out why he had come to the past. Current timeline Trunks powered up into his Super Saiyan and alerted Goku so that he could use the instant transmission, bringing all four of them to the Earth so that they could investigate what was going on. After Goku went and got the Senzu beans, he gave Trunks one, allowing Trunks to recover. As Trunks awoke, he saw Goku in front of him and pictured him just as he pictured Black, assuming that he was the same person, and attacked him. And with that, that was the end of Dragon Ball Super Episode 48. Overall, I really liked this episode just as I liked last week's episode, but I do feel that there is an overall theme with these past two episodes that has impacted my opinion. And that is, my general overall opinion seems to be, I want more future Trunks and his moments and his tension-filled scenes, and less of the padding and filler-esque moments in which we get to see side characters doing happy-go-lucky stuff which essentially diffuses the tension from all of the Trunks scenes. But let me go into that a little bit more in my pros and cons for this episode. Again, as I just said, pretty much everything having to do with future Trunks in this episode I thought was great. His face-off with Goku Black, or Black Goku in the future, his escape to the present, and his waking up and attacking the regular main timeline Goku in our timeline. All of it was very dramatic, filled with tension, and certainly the best parts of this episode, as just with last week's episode it tended to be. As a matter of fact, there are so many moments in Dragon Ball Super thus far involving future Trunks, his future timeline, and many of the events surrounding future Trunks that have really ended up becoming some of my favorite moments of Dragon Ball Super thus far, and a lot of it has to do with the future Trunks character. And one of the reasons why future Trunks is certainly one of my favorite characters, and definitely in my top 5 of all the characters in Dragon Ball as a whole in the franchise, is because of how much of a human being he is, how fleshed out his backstory and his motivations are, and how pretty much everything he does makes sense from his character's point of view and perspective. Future Trunks is a very tortured soul, and we could certainly sympathize with him because we know exactly the reason he is the way he is and his motivations. And as a matter of fact, the moment in which he lunges at and attacks Goku in the present timeline is one of my favorite moments so far in Dragon Ball Super, because of the fact that it makes perfect sense within the context of Trunks' character and was so excellently executed. After all, Trunks just came from a timeline where someone who looks just like Goku destroyed every single person he knows and has basically decimated the world. For all we know, future Trunks is the only one left alive on that planet because of this character, and when he left the main timeline, Goku had died. So it made perfect sense for him to attack him in the moment in which he's visualizing everything that this character has done to him in his mind time before he attacked was really great and very emotional. It makes me wonder if future Trunks maybe has some sort of PTSD, but at this point in time it makes perfect sense. It's hard to come from a world like that without having some sort of negative mental side effects. However, there was unfortunately a lot of padding that I also felt diffused a lot of the tension that could have happened during this episode, just like it did with the last episode. There's a whole sequence in which Trunks is at school with the Pilaf gang doing math, and suddenly Pilaf goes into some sort of strange dance number and show. And none of this contributed whatsoever to the overall plot as a whole, and it really detracted from it because of the fact that they could have spent all of that time having Trunks wake up, maybe explaining certain things, and moving the plot a little bit further along. The same could be said with Goku going to go get the Senzu beans. There was no reason for Goku to go to Korin's tower and see this whole sequence in which Korin and Yajirobe are playing Limbo. I mean, it's nice to see them for once, but we already saw a small cameo from them in the previous mini-arc that we just had, so there's no reason to take an episode where future Trunks shows up where the tension and the drama should be high, and then have a whole scene in which Yajirobe and Korin are playing Limbo while Goku goes to get the Senzu beans. He could have easily just teleported there and come back off-screen as he usually does in every other arc. And that's essentially my biggest issue with these past two episodes, and that would have to be time management and the fact that Toei seems to be under the impression that we have to constantly keep cutting to happy-go-lucky things, and we can't focus on the real tension and the drama of this episode. And that's something that has always annoyed me about some of the portrayals in Dragon Ball as a whole in the franchise, that Toei constantly has to feel the need to diffuse the tone. Even during the Cell games, with all the tension and the drama that were happening surrounding Gohan versus Super Perfect Cell, they still felt the need to constantly cut to showing Mr. Satan and his crew in funny sequences, which really detracted from the overall tone of the episode. If you're gonna go dark, just go dark already. Don't go halfway there and still have happy-go-lucky stuff with all of the super dark, grim dark, everyone is dying, there's nothing we could do scenes in the episodes. Just stick with one or stick with the other and don't do both. You could certainly have some comedic moments of levity, but don't have them as much as we're having them now, and don't drag out all of the conclusions of the episode. This whole episode amounted to Trunks going to the past and waking up and attacking Goku. There's no reason why that had to happen over the course of 20 minutes with all of this padding placed in the middle. But overall, when taking the pros and cons into account, I still think this episode was really good, one of the best episodes we've seen in Dragon Ball Super thus far, but Toei really needs to stop all of the cutaways and just focus on the drama and the tension and everything else that's going on plot-wise. But then again, it looks like maybe in the next episode, that's what we're gonna get, so let's get into my predictions. Going off the next episode previews, it looks like we're gonna start off just where this episode ended, with Trunks versus Goku, and both of them appear to be Super Saiyans. So it looks like we're already going to start off this next episode with Trunks fighting against Goku, a bunch of action, and it looks like it's going to be really cool, although again, I don't really understand why Goku would even need to transform into a Super Saiyan to fight Trunks, considering just how powerful his base form is. But in this recent episode, current timeline Trunks as a Super Saiyan was somehow able to alert Goku all the way over on Beerus' planet to come to the Earth, even though Goku was unable to sense First Form Frieza and Resurrection F, and Gohan basically had to snap to let him come there, but whatever, that's just Dragon Ball Super at the moment. But it seems like aside from that, somehow Black Goku is going to be coming to the past to fight against Goku and the rest of the Z fighters. I don't know how he gets there. We do see this strange ring on his finger that seems to be looking through a portal. Perhaps it is the leftover of Trunks' time machine. He's going to be flying through the same portal and pathway that Trunks went. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like Goku and Vegeta are going to be stepping up to fight this Black Goku, and I don't really know who's going to win. I mean, this guy is supposed to be the big bad villain of this arc, but it seems like they're already going to have him fighting against Goku in the third episode. So naturally, my inclination would be to say that he's going to defeat Goku, Vegeta, and everyone else, because that's how a story like this would tend to flow, but I have to wonder what would happen if they end up defeating Black Goku in this next episode. Maybe at that point we'll find out a little bit more about what's going on, and maybe we'll find out a little bit more about that green Kaioshin that appears in the opening of Dragon Ball Super's most recent arc. For all we know, he's a Kaioshin who's behind all of it, and Black Goku is just the beginning. After all, there are a bunch of other Z fighters who died as well. Maybe we'll get Black Yamcha, the greatest villain of all. Or Black Chaozu. He's gonna eat your soul. Well, my name is Mike, and this has been another edition of Dragon Ball Super reviews and predictions. Let me know your own thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Subscribe.
Do it now. What do you waiting
Do it
for?
now, you puny man. Who cares about the universe 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Blah.
Not the universe of biceps. No.